Hey there, Allie from the A-Team here with one final reminder that our Summer Reset Jumpstart class begins on Monday. If you are ready to ignite the principles of the compound effect in your life, now is the time. I'll be with you every step of the way as we gather together each week to go through the module together. So just click the link and I can't wait to see you there.
So I had lunch with a buddy of mine, Andy, at a sushi restaurant here in San Diego recently. It was a sunny day, so we sat outside while catching up. And Andy, he's an engineer about my age, married with 3 kids. His wife, Amelia, is a 3rd grade teacher at a local elementary school. On the weekends, Andy coaches his son's basketball, baseball, and soccer teams. I've known Andy since we were in our early 20s. I danced the night away, albeit poorly, at his wedding. Have watched with admiration the happiness that fills his everyday life. The combined incomes of a teacher and a mid-level engineer are not something Robin Leach would rave about, but they are happy. They have a nice home, drive safe vehicles, their children have college funds, and every year they take a terrific family vacation. About halfway through our meal, another friend of mine walked down the sidewalk by our table. "Jake," I called out as he passed. Jake looked up, obviously busy, but stopped to say hello. "Jake, good to see you," I said. "This is my friend Andy. I've been meaning to introduce you to. I bet your boys play soccer together, or at least against each other." He chuckled and we shared a few short conversation points before Jake hurriedly jumped into his Aston Martin and peeled down the Pacific Coast Highway. "Man," Andy muttered, "imagine being that guy." Now I understood Andy's envy. I met Jake 20 years earlier as well, and he works in finance, is one of the most talented businessmen that I know. He built an empire and has the material checklist to prove it. Home on the Pacific Ocean, check. A flat on Manhattan's Upper East Side, check. Private jet to take him between the two, check. Jake's reputation preceded him, so I wasn't surprised at Andy's reaction to meeting him. But Andy didn't know Jake as I do. Jake married his high school sweetheart and had 3 kids. Then, through a series of tough decisions, bad decisions, call them what you will, he lost her and the respect of his family. His business has him under constant, intense pressure and on edge all the time. He typically numbs much of this pain and tension with a bit too much alcohol. If you look at his finances, Jake appears to have it all, but even Jake would tell you he doesn't have much of what matters most. One can have lots of money, but still be poor. So let me say that again, as this is a very important lesson, one that I'm trying to pass on here this morning. One can have lots of money, but still be poor. The opposite is true as well. Don't mistake the message here. I looked at Andy, who drives a modest car, lives in a modest home, and has a life filled with love and happiness. One can be assessed by a banker as not being wealthy, but still feel and experience incredible wealth. Andy, I said, never forget. Wealth is not a state of bank account, it's a state of mind and a state of being. Believe it or not, you are one of the wealthiest people I know. This morning, I want you to consider, how wealthy are you, really? A man was driving in his car with his wife, and they were stopped by a police officer. The following exchange took place. The man says, "What's the problem, officer?" The officer says, "You were going at least 80 miles an hour." The man says, "No, sir, I was going 60 miles an hour." The wife says, "Oh, Harry, you were going 90 miles an hour." The man gave his wife a dirty look. The officer says, "I'm also going to give you a ticket for your broken taillight." The man replies, "Broken taillight? I didn't know about a broken taillight." The wife says, "Oh, Harry, you've known about that taillight for weeks." The man gave his wife another dirty look. The officer said, "I'm also going to give you a citation for not wearing your seatbelt." The man said, "Oh, I just took it off when you were walking up to the car." The wife said, "Oh, Harry, you never wear your seatbelt." The man turned to his wife and yelled, "Would you please shut up?" The officer turned to the woman and asked, "Ma'am, does your husband talk to you this way all the time?" The wife replied, "Only when he's drunk." Okay, good. All right. A husband posted an item on Craigslist. Antique sewing table, refinished by my wife, $30. But if she's home when you arrive, $100. Right? No? Okay. Have a good weekend, everybody.